Let's talk about a question that is absolutely critical for any business today. How do you keep your company safe when a huge part of it, your data, your daily operations, even your biggest risks, doesn't even live inside your own walls? This is the core challenge of vendor security, and believe me, it is completely rewriting the rules for what it means to be secure.
I want you to just pause and think about this for a second. It used to be simple, right? The company ended at the office walls, at the edge of the data center. But today, with cloud services, dozens of third-party apps, remote work, that clear line has totally evaporated. Your company isn't a fortress anymore. It's a sprawling, interconnected web. And just to put a number on that sprawl, get this. The average mid-sized company is now using over 130 different applications. Every single one of those is a new doorway, a new connection into your organization. People are calling this SaaS sprawl, and it's a total game changer for security.
So yeah, all of those connections have completely redrawn the map. In our first section here, let's dig into how those traditional digital walls have basically dissolved, creating a whole new kind of challenge that most of us are still trying to get our heads around.
Here's the new reality. Your most important data doesn't just live on your servers anymore. It's constantly flowing through this massive external ecosystem of vendors. And this creates what our source material calls an invisible attack surface, because the risk isn't something you can just see or control on your own network. It's out there.
And you know where a huge part of that invisible risk comes from? Something called shadow SaaS. This isn't software you vetted or approved. It's all the tools your employees sign up for on their own because it helps them get their job done, which is great for productivity, but for a security team, it's a nightmare. It creates this massive blind spot filled with unmonitored risk.
And that shadow surface isn't just one thing. It's all those little third-party plugins you add to Slack. It's that old marketing tool you stopped paying for but never actually revoked its access to your data. It's those random productivity apps. Every single one is a potential weak link in the chain.
Which leads us straight into our next section, where we look at how the bad guys have changed their strategy. They're not just banging on your front door anymore. Why would they? They're looking for the unlocked side windows that your vendors accidentally left open. This quote really hits the nail on the head. Think about it. Why would a hacker try to get through the defenses of a company that spends millions on security when they can just target one of their smaller vendors who doesn't? Cybercriminals are smart, they take the path of least resistance, and more, that path runs right through your supply chain. And the consequences, well, they can be staggering. This number, 10.2 million, that's how many patient records were stolen in the LabCorp breach. But here's the kicker. The breach didn't happen at LabCorp. It happened at their billing vendor. But guess who had to answer for it? LabCorp. This is maybe the most crucial point to understand. The fallout from cases like that one has completely changed the game. The risk isn't just a fine for the company anymore. Nope. It has become a matter of personal liability for the directors and officers. The stakes are now incredibly high. And this slide right here shows a really dangerous gap in your financial safety net. You might assume your general business insurance covers a data breach, but look closely. Most traditional policies only cover you if you mess up and release the data. If one of your vendors gets hacked and exposes it, you're probably not covered. That is a massive and often overlooked financial risk. Okay, so the risks are clear, they're big, and frankly, they're a little scary. The question now is, what do we do about it? How do we move from this state of chaos to a state of control? Our next section is all about a structured approach, and we're going to use the wild world of the Internet of Things to show how. I mean, just think about all the smart devices in your offices now. Sensors, cameras, even the HVAC system. The Internet of Things, or IoT, connects our physical world to our digital one, and every single one of those devices is a potential entry point for an attacker to jump from controlling a thermostat to getting access to your core financial data. So how do you manage that complexity without getting totally overwhelmed? Well, you can apply a clear framework. It's built on 4 simple principles: making sure devices are secure right out of the box, being incredibly rigorous in your defenses, holding vendors accountable for access, and building systems that can bounce back. But if you remember just one thing from this section, make it this. The single most powerful defense you have is something called network segmentation. It just means you put all your IoT stuff on its own separate network. That way, even if a sensor gets hacked, the damage is contained. It can't become a stepping stone into the crown jewels. That kind of strategic thinking really shows that the old methods just don't cut it anymore. So in this section, let's talk about how managing vendor risk has to be about more than just a simple static checklist. This comparison perfectly captures the shift.
The old way was all about sending a vendor a questionnaire once a year and just trusting their answers. The new way, the only way that works now, is continuous governance. It's real-time monitoring that uses actual data to prove they're secure, not just their promises. And when you're looking for that proof, it's really important to know what you're asking for. You hear about SOC 2 and ISO 27001 all the time, but they're not interchangeable. Think of it like this. SOC 2 proves a vendor's security controls actually work in the real world. ISO 27001 proves they have a good rulebook, a solid management system. Both are valuable, but they tell you very different things. We've defined the problem, we've talked about the new mindset that's required, so for our final section, let's bring it all home with a concrete action plan that can actually future-proof your organization. And looking to the future, you have to talk about AI. It's a two-sided coin. On one side, it's an incredible shield, AI agents that will constantly monitor your vendors for you. But it's also a brand new sword for attackers. Think about supply chain deepfakes, an AI perfectly impersonating your vendor's CEO in an email to trick you into wiring money. It's coming. So what do you do now? You follow a clear, strategic roadmap. Don't try to do it all at once. Phase 1 is just discovery. You can't protect what you don't know you have. Phase 2 is technical hardening. That's where you lock things down. And Phase 3 is all about operational resilience, making sure you can bounce back fast when something inevitably happens. But, at the end of the day, all the technology, all the frameworks, they aren't enough on their own. This quote gets to the absolute heart of the matter. The biggest change you have to make isn't a piece of software. It's a cultural shift. It's moving from everyone shares everything to a collective, shared responsibility for protection. And that leaves us with one last question for you to take back to your own team. Are you just ticking boxes on a security checklist? Or are you actually building a true, resilient culture of protection? Because in today's world, that culture is the only thing that will really keep you safe.